Right. We are going to go ahead and dive on in. So once again, thank you all so much for joining us again today. In case this is your first ever catch up with Keeper webinar series, there's basically two parts that we actually in the last webinar smashed together, and so we're going to do the same thing again today. In the first part, we're going to talk through all of the new features and functionality we've shipped in Keeper over the last month, and then we will also open things up to some Q&A. On the topic of Q&A, if you have a question, please drop it into the Q&A section at the bottom of the screen here, rather than the chat. That will make it easier for us to find it and answer it. All right, and with that, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and open things up here. Okay. Shayna, can folks see my screen here? Or I guess anyone in the chat, can you verify that? I just updated my OS, and so there's like new random permissions modals shouting at me. Okay, great. All right, so first things first, on the client list, we have some new property types. So I guess this is also in every other place where properties can be found. So we have both dollar type and percent type. So especially if you want to store like your client's rate per month, for example, you can see that now here easily and nicely formatted. And then percent, I'm not exactly sure what you would want percent for, but now you have it if you need it. A few folks asked for it, so there it is. And speaking of the client list, we also updated our sort of controls panel here to be a little bit more streamlined and modern. The one thing I will call out is if you are used to toggling between new, all, and open closes, those are now in the special filters. So you could just come here from latest to open and all. And all the other filters run the same way. Otherwise, your views here are all here as well. And everything else should work as normal. Okay, so that's those are the updates for for the client list. Now on to the close page. I have a few new updates here, especially in receipts. So in receipts, we refreshed and updated the entire UI to make it easier to see the information you want without being distracted by the information you may or may not need. So we've cleaned the entire UI up here. And in addition, we've also added a couple of new transaction types. So first is sales receipts. So sales receipts now let you post sales receipts if your clients send you those. I know this is a common request from folks who are folks who especially work with nonprofits. So this is now you can post sales receipts. This is actually our first foray into products and services. So for those of you who have been waiting desperately for product and services support, more and better support for product and services throughout the closing experience will also be coming here too in fairly short order, as will invoices, which is the last major transaction type that we don't support here in Keeper Receipts. Okay, in addition to that, we also have journal entries. I think I highlighted the AI journal entries component to Keeper and what we've been working on over the last month in our previous webinar. So you can go back and watch that if you haven't seen it already. That is still very much in a private alpha that we are rolling out very slowly. However, the journal entries capability, where you can create and post your own journal entry and then have the document on the left linked into that journal entry, is very much live and up and running in the product. So you have it there if you need it as well. Okay, those are the updates for Keeper Receipts. I will now pause and see if there are any questions. Okay, Laura asked, we have some clients who uploaded docx files. Is there a way to convert these to PDFs within Keeper without needing to download, reformat, save, and re-upload? That is a great question. There is not a way to do that today, but definitely something that we should consider. So I will make a note of that, and we will take it back to the engineering team. Okay, Chet asked, if a new client who is not QBO but likes to scan bills to get the GST and the total. Okay, reformatting this question, if you have non-QBO clients, but you want to be able to use Keep Receipts for scanning and extracting the GST information, there is not currently a way to do this. Receipts does have to be linked to a connected QuickBooks file, but this definitely something good to consider. Okay. Jamie asked if we are working on properties, headers, or names, either wrapping text or auto-fitting the column widths. Definitely, there is something, we are working on some functionality there. So just to loop everyone else in on what this is talking about here, this is basically for client properties. If you have a client property name that is longer, you probably just pull any of these here. To have this either wrap or allow it to auto fit to width. So yes, definitely something that we can work on there. Okay. Shira asked, is there a way to create comparative reports filtered by class? Interesting question. So we do support quite a bit of class-based reporting. I will go ahead and pause on this, and I'll come back to it after I have walked through the rest of the things here. It looks, I want to keep the sort of general Q&A until we finish the main update. Okay. All right. So we'll come back to the remainder of the questions here. Going to move on really quickly to the Portal 2.0 updates. So I believe we also demoed this in last month, but now the Client Portal 2.0 is live and available for everyone. So in case you have not upgraded it, it is in your practice settings under Client Portal, and then in branding. If you have not upgraded, you'll see a button up here that says Upgrade Client Portal. As a refresher on what the upgraded portal experience looks like, it looks like this. So it's a much nicer, more modern 21st century experience. So all of the same core functionality has not changed here, but you can now see things in a more chat style experience. So it's something clients are going to be a lot more familiar with and comfortable with. So we rolled this out and made it public earlier in the month of October, and we got some very good and valid feedback from a lot of you. The three biggest pieces of feedback that we got now that the Portal 2.0 went live were first tag color updates. So previously we made an update, we made a decision that was not the right decision, and so we quickly reversed it to combine tags into the status of whether something is needs your input, answered, or responded. And so we undid that, and now you just have needs your input, and the tag is broken out separately and maintains its own colors. That's the first one. Second is in transaction questions. Previously, we compressed how much text you could see on the transaction question, and that cut off more of the statement descriptor than folks wanted. So we lengthened that, and now folks can see more of the statement descriptor in the just list view form without needing to click to see more detailed information. And then last but not least, one of the bigger ones was the ability for individuals to edit other people's transactions, edit other people's questions. This is now also something we support. If you are an admin or a super admin, you can now edit anyone's questions, although standard users cannot edit individual questions. So for example, we've got this Ashby transaction question. We can see here this was asked by Ben the manager, but I am actually just Ben Stein. So I know this is confusing. This is my demo file, but those are, I assure you, two different users. And you can now come in and click the three dots here to edit any transaction questions if you want to edit them. All right. If you have any other improvements you'd like to see come into Portal 2.0, please don't hesitate to make your voice heard. Let us know. Add votes in the canny, create new posts in the canny. Yeah, we made this upgrade for the sake of, one, improving and modernizing the UI, and two, also giving us a lot more room to add more awesome, powerful tools for you to use with your clients in the portal as well. So please continue to let us know what else you'd like to see there. Okay. And with that, that is all of the features I have to talk about today. It's a bit of a short update, and now we'll go over back to the Q&A. Okay. I did just open up the chat, and it's a good thing I did. Monica mentioned something that I think a lot of people will benefit from. I'm a new user. Where should I go to for an updated training video that slowly walks you through using the platform? Shayna, could you pull the YouTube link, or Lauren already beat you to it? So everyone in the chat, this YouTube link will take you to our YouTube channel. We have a full long form series of videos that walk you through every single part of the app, how to use it, how to make the most out of it, our recommended best practices, taught by the one and only Sage Greenstein here on our team. So really good stuff there. If there are other videos you'd like to see added, please, of course, let us know about those as well, and we will make sure to cover them too. All right, so now I am going to come back to Shira's question. Is there a way to create P&Ls with one class per page? So good question, Shira. I believe the answer to this is no today, but I think it's changing soon. So just quick heads up, there is a place where you can do this. So on the P&L in the financial review, you can actually come in here and say, I only want to filter the P&L to just show admin, for example. And this will let you run a P&L by month, filtered by class. I don't believe this is in the management reports, although I know if it's not, it is something that we're working on bringing in soon. The filtering by class functionality is fairly new. Well, let's see. It does look like this may be here. Okay. All right. Well, I revised my answer. This is something that you can do in the product. It's been a new experience for me to learn things that we already support. But yes, if you click this filter button here, you can filter just to show a certain class on the P&L. And so you can see this anytime from the filter button right here. That will let you filter a P&L by class. Okay, Laura asked, within receipts, is there a way to add a button to the memo or note to attach the description, assuming like these attach the description to the memo? Right now, I copy and paste the note. That is a really good point, and definitely something that I think we could add support for. There's not a way to do it easily in Keeper today. Katie asked, we're loving the new portal format. I noticed on your screen, your responses are in month, day, and year. However, I only see month and day. How do I get the year to display? Great question. This is actually dynamic date rendering. And the reason I see the year is because this is a free old demo file. So you'll see here, whoops, second, folks. So you'll see here, this renders as an hour ago, whereas if I have very, very old, whereas if I have older things, and this is from September of this year, that will show up as September 13th. And if I have very, very old questions, I don't know if I have any examples of those here, they'll show up as like July 16th, 2023, if this was 2023. But as you can see here, if you hover over the date of an edited transaction, you can see the full length of the original edit. But yeah, if you don't see the year, that means the year is the current year. Chet asked, where can I get support today to set up a new client within the portal? Generally speaking, if you have any support questions, this little chat bubble is going to be your friend. Drop into the chat, and Grace, Sky, or our AI bot will be there to assist you. If you get an AI answer, by the way, and it is not the right answer, just keep pressing, and Grace and Sky will absolutely be there. They are live monitoring everything. Susan asked, I may have missed this, but how close is entering receipts by products and services? Very close. So we just rolled out sales receipts, which is our first foray into using products and services at all within Keeper. So that means invoices should be coming soon, expenses and bills, incorporating products and services will be coming soon, and also editing transactions that are products and services based will also be coming as well. So soon is the short answer to that question. Okay, an attendee asked, what can you see if a client has been archived? Good question. So if you want to filter for your archived clients, you can pull over your client status here. There's a couple of things I'll mention actually backing up. If you see archived clients and you don't want to see them on the client list, you can go to your practice settings, all client settings, and archive clients, and then turn on or off this setting as appropriate. If you have this on, you'll still see your archived clients on the client list. If you turn them off, you'll only see them here. In our case here, if we go to sample cleanup client, for example, which is archived, this is more or less what your experience will look like. All of your tasks that are not completed will be marked as canceled. The portal is still accessible, so any open questions, this is not a great example here because we don't have any questions, but any open questions will automatically be marked resolved, but otherwise will still be here in an archival basis for your later viewing. Yeah, just generally speaking, it looks like the normal close page, except you see this red banner that says archived over the top, the date it was archived, and then all of the data is both either moved into a resolved or canceled state and also is read-only, so you can't make edits here. Laura mentioned we are coming over from Hubdoc, which has a great naming system. It automatically renames the receipts to vendor dash dash date dash dash amount. Is this something on the roadmap for Keeper to update in receipts, or maybe there's a canny? I do believe there is a canny about this, but if not, this is definitely something that we are aware of, and we are working on some renaming, like auto renaming capabilities in Keeper for sure. Elaine asks, is there a plan to add the ability to upload an Excel file for non-connected clients to answer presumably transaction questions within the portal? I still have a handful of clients on desktop, slowly moving them, but some hangers on. This is something that we are reviewing. I can't say it's on the imminent roadmap, but definitely something that we would love to add support for. We recognize there are quite a few of desktop hangers on, and so we don't want to leave them in the lurch either. Okay, Liz asked, I am in Canada looking for, I'm in the French province of Canada. Does Keeper connect to zero? Yes, is the short answer. And will GST and HST and Quebec sales tax, QST, for the uninitiated, be an option? Yes, yes, and yes. We have full support for zero, full support for all GST and HST and QST. Yeah. Feel free to let us hop into our support chat if you have any questions on that. But short answer is yes. Sarah asked, is there support for NetSuite? Not at this time, although I think that may be a later 2025 rollout. We did roll out support for Sage Intacct in a very closed beta. So we have support now for QBO, NetSuite, and Zero, or sorry, excuse me, QBO, Zero, and Sage Intacct. NetSuite, I imagine, will be coming in either late 2025 or early 2026, but I can't say it's on our immediate roadmap. Laurie asks, is there a way to change the default naming on management reports? For now, they are labeled month-end financial report. It would be good if they defaulted to, for example, October 2024 financial report. Not currently a way to do that. Definitely a good option for a canny. Shira asked, can you please briefly explain what receipts is? That is a good question. So for those of you who have listened to me talk about receipts at length and also answer questions about receipts, but don't really know what receipts is, it's a good question. So Keeper Receipts is a complex of a few features. First and foremost, it is the ability to text and email in new documents into Keeper. So if you upgrade your client to Keeper Receipts, they get a custom forwarding email where you can have them send in any documents that they may need. You can also have them text in documents to, so mostly like pictures of receipts, to their practice phone number. So first and foremost, it is a new input method so that you can get more documents into Keeper. And then second, beyond the new input methods, there are also new processing options. So in addition to the upload inbox, which everyone has access to, there is also the transaction files page. And this is really where most of the action in Keeper Receipts is. So if your client sends you a document, we will first scan it to see if it contains any relevant transaction information. If it does, we'll pull that information off to help you populate a transaction. And then you can also supplement that with rules so that you can say, if, for example, something contains the text United, go ahead and do this. Or commonly, we'll see rules for things like payment methods. So if the text contains 4567, automatically set the payment method to this credit card. And then you can just post transactions straight to the ledger right from here of pretty much any type except for invoices. But so expenses, bills, bill payments, credit card credits, vendor credits. I won't just read down the list, but you can see them all here. And yeah, that is Keeper Receipts in a nutshell. Liz asked, when I connect Zero to Keeper, can I choose the clients that will be on Keeper, or do all Zero clients connect? You can absolutely choose which clients you want to connect to Zero, as is also the case with QuickBooks and Sage for whatever it's worth. You do not need to add all of your clients just to add an individual client. Shira asked, is Receipts an added subscription? Also, why do not all my related clients show up in the related client lists in the dropdown? Okay, let's start with the first question. Is Receipts an added subscription? It is. It is an extra $15 per client per month on top of the base subscription. And second question is, why do not all of my related clients show up in the related client list in the dropdown? This is a good point to talk about a feature that I quite like here, and that is related clients here. If you open up this list, you may see this related clients option. What forms this related clients list is based on the contacts in the client portal. So basically, if you have any contacts, and those contacts also have access to other clients, those other clients are considered related clients. So it's an indirect relation. But let's say, for example, Ben.sign at Keeper.app has access to both 1801 brands and Democo. So in that case here, that is why I see 1801 brands, and so on and so forth for every other potential client file I have access to. The only impact of this is it just puts these at the top here in the client switcher. Okay, Cindy asked if we want our clients to have a link to send to their vendors to request a W-9 electronically, where do we find that link? And is it unique to each client? This is a great question and a great feature, and one definitely to take advantage of over the course of the next few months and into January. and that is what we call static vendor request links. So for those of you who use our 1099s reporting and see transaction or see vendors that you need to request W-9s from, you of course know that you can request those W-9s directly from the specific vendors in the prepared 1099s report. However, the ideal approach is you collect the W-9 before you ever even pay that vendor. Although sometimes you may or may not be able to control your clients and when they pay who. But one of the best recommendations we can give is give your clients an easy way to get you that document. And that way is static vendor requests. So if you click add request here and go to your W-9 requests, you'll see this link. This link is unique to this particular client that you're working on. And so what you can do is you can send your contact at that client this link and say, before you pay anyone, just send the vendor this link. And then what you can also do is you can check this box here that says automatically notify your client. And then once any vendor responds to this link, the client will get a message. You'll see this, the response here in the portal, in Keeper, and it will go directly into your vendor requests. So you can then link it to an appropriate vendor or create a new vendor if it doesn't already exist in the client's QuickBooks file. So yeah, static vendor requests are right here. Great option as we get closer and closer to the January 1099 busy season. Okay, Kelly asked, can you please briefly explain how to set up a phone number for texting in Keeper receipts? Good question. So the phone number is the practice phone number, which you can set up in your practice settings. You go to client portal, branding, and then practice phone number. One important note, this is something that is issued to you through Keeper. Basically, we buy a phone number on your behalf through Twilio, and then this is a number that you can use to send reminder texts and receive documents that your clients text into you. So basically, you go right here. It is a real usable phone number within Keeper. It is not something that we can connect to your existing phone number, so it does have to be a new phone number here. And then once you set this up, you can send this to your clients to use. Okay. An attendee asked, how do I sort my tasks for a client by status? If you want to perform any sort of advanced filtering on your tasks, we recommend doing that on the task list right here. So if you wanted to see, for example, all of your tasks that are with a particular client, let's just say demo co here, and you wanted to see all of the ones that were stuck. So you can click the status filter here, choose stuck, and then uncheck everything else, and then click OK. That will show you all of your tasks that are stuck. If you wanted to, you can also save this as a view. If you wanted to come back to that at any point in time, and then that will show the latest view of whatever tasks are stuck. Shira asks, is Portal 2.0 available for everyone? I don't see the branding option. If it's an important point, it is only available for folks who are actually, it should be available for everyone in Keeper Standard. I'll have to check with our product team on that one. It may auto upgrade for folks on Keeper Standard, so let me check in with our product team and I'll get back to y'all on that one. Okay, Shira looks like has some questions. I would say, Shira, if you have like specific questions, maybe on not seeing stuff that I've already demoed, just drop into the chat here, and our support team will be happy to take care of that. All right. I think that is pretty much everything here, folks. If I did not get to your Q&A, apologies. There are a ton of questions in the chat, so feel free to ask it again here if you don't think I answered your question. Otherwise, feel free to drop your question into support, and we will take it there as well. So we'll give folks another couple of minutes here to go ahead and ask any final questions, and then we will wrap things up. Okay, Joanna asked, I am not seeing the ability to filter questions by tag after the upgrade. Maybe I'm not noticing how to do so. Good question. You should still be able to do so. So if you go to your non-transaction questions and let's say you wanted to filter for statements, you should just be able to search statements, and that should filter things down here to only your statements one. So for example, if we wanted to do likewise for onboardings, we can do that here as well. So basically the filtering runs through this search. Jamie asked for a timeline on being able to rename properties after those exist. I don't have a timeline, although I can say this is definitely a highly requested properties feature. It is something that we're working on. Adrian asked, will we be implementing an option to mask tax ID info within the prepared 1099 report? It is something that we are evaluating, although I can't say that we have an immediate timeline for that as well. Amy asked, will we be providing keeper invoices that are broken down by client? We don't currently have this as an option, although if you want to see what your breakdown looks like, my recommendation here is you can actually just filter your client list here. So we can see, for example, QBO or 0 if you wanted to filter that down here, or if you pull open the client status and just filter for connected, this should be the number of clients that you're billed for in Keeper. Okay, Jamie asked, any update on W9 INTs and DIVs? Not for this month, but yes, very, very soon we are working on we should be releasing a much more powerful configurable version of our prepared 1099 report that will allow you to set things like $10 thresholds for W9, $10 thresholds and just inclusive for certain expense accounts for ints and divs. So yeah, that reporting should be, I think, live this week or next week, but definitely well in advance of year-end 2024. And then another question around W8 collection. This is something that we are working on, making the vendor requests more configurable for W8, BEN, and BENEs for sure. An anonymous attendee asks, can you send email blasts to clients when you aren't paying for the upgraded version? No, email blasts is a Keeper premium feature. All right. Well, folks, with that, we're going to go ahead and wrap things up for today. So thank you all so much for joining and staying and asking such great questions, as always. Our next Catch Up with Keeper webinar will be at the end of November, last Tuesday of the month. So thank you all so much for taking the time today. I imagine some of you might be in Vegas, so if you are here, please come by and say hi at the booth. I should be there all day. And if you have any further questions, of course, feel free to reach out to us and we will be happy to answer them at any time. All right, well, have a good rest of your October. Best of luck as we start creeping towards the end of the year, and I will see hopefully many of you again soon.